Hi guys, in today's video we'll learn how to create a three.js scene in Webflow using some custom code. I really struggled when I first wanted to do some 3D in the web, and I hope this video will help you with that. Alright, so this video is going to be divided into two parts. In the first part of the video we'll set up our working environment, meaning that we'll set up everything we need so that we can use some custom code in Webflow. And in the second part of the video, we'll create a 3D scene. I'm gonna use a method that I already showed in a previous video. So for those of you who are already familiar with it, you can skip to the 3GS phase. But I know that some people struggle to make this template work, and I would like to show you step by step how to use it so that everyone can follow along. And by the way, this template was created by Armand Saleh. We're gonna use one that was slightly changed so that it matches our needs a bit more at ambient. But yeah, the template was originally created by Armand, so thank you to him. Anyway, before we even start doing anything, we need to make sure we have everything installed on our computer. So we need Node.js, we need a GitHub account, GitHub desktop, and a code editor. So I'm using VS Code, but you can use whatever code editor you like. But yeah, make sure you have everything on your computer, and now we can start. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new repository. So I'm going to give you this link in the description, and you can create a new repository. Let's call this one 3GS Webflow. Alright, and once it's created, we can open with GitHub desktop. So let's do that. I can clone it and look at this. I have a new folder on my desktop, and let's open it with Visual Studio Code. Alright, let's do something like that. Let's not do anything on Webflow for the moment. Let's just take a look at our folder. So we have an src folder, we have a source folder with the main.js file. Alright, let's start by installing the dependencies, and to do that I need to open a new terminal. So I can go here and new terminal, or I can use the shortcut on Mac, it's Control and backtick. And yeah, I need to install the dependencies. It's something I need to do only once when I first set up my project, meaning that if I work on it, stop for a couple of days and come back to it, I won't need to do that. But for the moment, I need to do npm install. So just like that, and press enter. All right, now I can do npm run dev, and I have a local server running on my computer. So let's see what we have. So if I go to this URL, I have nothing on my page, but it's completely normal. But we can see that we have the console log hello that is right there. And if I change anything, let's say goodbye, for example, now it says goodbye. So that's cool. And something else we need to make sure is that we can access this main.js file through this URL. So src/main.js file, and we can say that we can see that we have exactly the code that we have there. And let's put hello again. Let's save, let's refresh, and yeah, the code is the same. So make sure everything is working on your side. Normally everything should be fine, but yeah, make sure everything is working until this point, and now we can move on. And what we're going to do is that we're going to use this local server as the source for our JavaScript on Webflow. And to do that, we're going to go to the tag file. We're going to copy those two script tags, go on Webflow, let's create a new site. Let's call this one 3GS. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And now we can paste these two script tags into our global custom code. So just before the end of the body tag, let's save, and let's publish. All right, let's see what we have. So white page, but it's normal. And yeah, now it says hello. Let's see if everything's working still. So no error. Let's change the text. Let's say something else like that. I save. My code is updated automatically, and now it says something else. So make sure, again, everything is working until that point, but yeah, you should not have any error. So yeah, that was it for the first part. As you can see, quite simple. We can delete the console log, and now we can move on to three.js. So let's take a look at the documentation. So the first thing we need to do is to install three.js. So I have two ways of doing it. I can use the npm method or the cdn method. Since we're using this template, we can use the npm method, which I found to be a bit more convenient. So let's copy this. Let's stop the dev server by doing Ctrl+C, and let's paste this and enter. All right, let's start the dev server again. Let's not forget. And now that three.js is installed, I need to import it. And to import it, I can do import everything as 3 from 3. All right, let's make sure three.js is installed and we don't have any issues. So let's console log it. Let's go back to our website. So we have an error because we stopped the local server. But if we refresh our page, we can see that we have a module, and this is three.js. So make sure you have a module right there, that there is no error. If you have an error, make sure that you installed three.js properly, that the import line is the right one. But yeah, console logging 3 is a good way of making sure everything's working fine before we even do anything on our code. Anyway, so three.js is installed. Let's see what we need to do to create a scene. We could use a boilerplate. There's a lot of them. The one from Bruno Simon is great. The thing is that when I first started doing 3D on the web, or just wanted, when I wanted to do some 3D, it was so abstract for me. I didn't understand shit. I made so many mistakes. And so I think it's a good thing to write the boilerplate from scratch so that we understand everything we're doing. And yeah, so as we can see, the documentation says that we only need 3 things. So to set up a three.js scene, we need a scene first. That's where everything is going to take place. We need a camera. So it's going to be the point of view, the place from where we see our scene. And we need a renderer. So we can render the scene with the camera. So let's start by creating the scene. And to do that, very simple, we can create a new instance and say const scene equal new 3 scene. All right, just like that, we have a scene. Okay. That's simple. Let's move on to the camera. So we can say const camera equal new 3. And it's not camera because there's different types of camera, and we're going to use the perspective camera. I don't think I ever used anything else than a perspective camera, but you can check it in the documentation if you're curious. But yeah, that's what we're going to use. And there's different attributes we can provide. So the first one is the field of view. Let's see what the documentation says. Yeah, the FOV is the extent of the scene that is seen on the display at any given moment. So this is the vertical degree of the camera. So let's use 75. The second attribute is the aspect ratio. It's the width of our screen divided by the height. So we can do window dot inner width divided by window dot inner height, and we'll change that a bit later, but we'll see why. And the last two attributes are the near and the far, meaning that everything closer than the first value I'm going to provide, so 0.1 won't be rendered, and the value, the object further than 1000 won't be rendered either. So that's the near and the far, and that's pretty much it for the camera. Let's just move the camera a little bit back. So I'm just going to change the position of my camera, because for the moment it's at the center of my scene, meaning that if I add any object in my scene, I won't be able to see them. So let's say camera position Z equal 5, and we are good to go. Let's also add the camera into our scene, so we can do scene add camera, just like that. All right. The scene is done, the camera as well. Let's move to the renderer. So to do that, we can say const renderer equal new 3, and it's WebGL renderer. So like this. So we need to set an instance of the renderer, but we also need to set the size at which we want it to render our app. So we can say renderer.setSize, and let's make sure I don't do any mistake. But yeah, it's set size, and just like we did for the camera, we can do window in a width, comma window in a height. All right. So we're good, and now we need. So we created the renderer. Now we want it to render our scene. So we can say renderer.render, and we want it to render our scene with our camera. All right. So let's save. Let's make sure we don't have any mistake. No mistake for the moment, but we still don't see anything. But that's normal because we created a scene, but we didn't place it in Webflow. So let's do that right now. I'm going to create an embed. Inside that embed, I'm going to create a canvas with the class of WebGL. Oh, class of WebGL. Let's save, and then let's publish. While waiting for the site to be published, let's create our canvas in our code. So we can say const canvas equal document query selector. So we are targeting our canvas element with the class of WebGL. And that's not it. The last thing we need to do is to say to our renderer that our canvas is going to be the canvas element. Let's save. Let's actually, I should have done that a bit earlier, but let's add a class. Let's give it a width of 100% with a fixed position. Let's publish again, and let's change the WebGL class as well. Let's say width 100%, and same thing for the height, just to make sure everything's fine. All right, and yeah, now we have a black screen. That's actually pretty cool because this is our three.js scene. We don't see anything because we don't have any object in our scene for the moment, but we can see that everything is working. So I have a scene which is right there, and I can see my scene through my camera, and it's rendered using this renderer. So yeah, that's super cool. Let's see if we can add we can add something inside of it. So let's add a box geometry. You can see that you have a lot of geometries you can choose from, but we're going to use a box geometry. Let's comment everything we have as well. Canvas. This is our scene. This is our camera. And this is our render. All right. Let's add our geometry just under our below our camera. So geometry like that. And yeah, we are going to write this code. I could copy and paste it. I like to write it down because it helps me to remember what I do. So const geometry equal new 3 again. and it's a box geometry. And we can see that the first three values are equal to the width, the height, and the depth. I can change those values. And yeah, so let's put 1, 1, 1 for the moment. Let's create a material, new 3. We're going to use a mesh normal material. I won't show you any materials in this video because there's so many of them, and I want to keep it a bit simple. So the goal here is just to set up a 3D scene so that we have a good base and we can do more fun stuff in the future. All right, let's create a mesh. So we have our geometry, we have our material, now we need our mesh. And the mesh is what's going to tie the geometry and the material together. So we can let's say new 3.mesh, and we need to provide our geometry, and our material, just like that. Let's save. If I look, I don't have anything, and that's normal because I created my mesh, but I need to add it inside my scene. Let's save. And yeah, we have what looks like a plane. It's actually a cube. All right, so let's animate our cube so that we can see that it's actually a cube and not just a plane. I'm gonna create a function, but I won't explain it too much because there's already a lot of information, and yeah, that's let's keep everything simple. So I'm going to do request animation frame. I'm going to animate. And so I have my mesh and I can rotate it. So let's do rotation x plus equal 0.1. And actually, let's take this, put it right there. All right. Let's save, and yeah, we have a cube. Yeah, so pretty cool, I think. There's a few things we could do before ending this video. The first one is handling the resize event, because meaning that the thing is that if the size of my window changes, the scene stays the same size because we set our size when we create our camera and our renderer, but it doesn't fit my screen at all times. So let's change that. So what I can do, the first thing I can do is to create an object. So let's do sizes, and I'm gonna create an object called sizes as well, and I'm gonna give it a width, its window in a width and a height, and its window in a height. All right. Now let's change the window in a width and window in a height by the sizes width. So sizes like that. Same thing for here. So sizes dot height. Same thing here. Sizes dot width. Like that. And sizes dot height. Let's save. Nothing changed. So that's actually good news. And now let's create an add event listener. So let's say window add event listener. So we want to listen to the resize event, and we want to update the sizes width and sizes height when we resize our window. So let's do sizes height equal. So yeah, I forgot a comma right there. Sizes height equal window in a height, and sizes width equal window in a width. All right. Let's see what we have. Let's save. Still working, but Not really actually. So what did we forget to do? Yeah, we need to update our camera as well. So we need to update the aspect ratio of our camera, and to do that we can do camera.aspect equal sizes.width divided by sizes.height. Alright, let's save. Let's see. Nothing. Alright. Let's see. Yeah. So we also need to update the size of our renderer. If you remember well, we set some sizes right there. So let's update those values as well. And actually I can copy and paste this line of code. Let's not bother with this. Let's save. Let's see what we have. And yeah, we can see that my scene is now taking the full width, but the proportions are off. And yeah, we can see it well. And there's something we can add, a small line of code we can add just below the camera.aspect, and it's update projection matrix, like that. And we can just call that method. Alright, and now my window, my scene fits perfectly, the proportions stays the same, and yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, so that's how to create a simple scene in ThreeJS. There's so many things we could do. It's so fun to play with ThreeJS, to play with some 3D, but I think that it's important for us to understand how it works and what we need to do to set up a simple scene so that we can play with it in Webflow. From now, I think that the next step would be to create more geometries or change the materials. Let's see if we can maybe import some custom model inside ThreeJS. As I said, there's so many things we can do. And yeah, if you like it, I'd be happy to do more videos on the channel. Hope everything was working fine for you. And yeah, see ya.